Hello everyone, welcome back to Disney 101. I apologize for not making a video last week, but I'm going to start with this video because this is one of my favorite movies I'm going to be talking about today. So today I'm going to be talking about Hunchback of Notre Dame, as I say in the film, or Notre Dame, because I looked it up actually how to pronounce it. So when you're talking about the cathedrals of Notre Dame, you say Notre Dame. And if we're talking about like the college or a certain town or a certain place like in America, you say Notre Dame. So I'm gonna keep calling it Notre Dame, but you guys can call it whatever you want. So this film was made in 1996 and it is an animation / musical movie. Now before you shut this video off because you don't like musicals, I want to tell you that this is not like a breakout in song kind of movie where they just sing out of random because they want to. No, this is a film where the characters sing because they can't find the words to say it. It creates a deeper feeling for the viewers of what's really happening and what they're really feeling, instead of just saying, oh, I feel sad, oh, I can't have this girl because blah, 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 blah. No, you can really feel their pain and you become sympathetic for them. And I think those musical films are the best out of any other because they drive home with you connecting with a character. And I think that's a really important part of a movie, is to connect with some character in any film. So this film has lots of voices that you probably haven't heard of, but they have amazing voices. So we have Tom Hulce, Demi Moore, Heidi Mollenhauer, Tony Jay, and lots of more amazing voices. As soon as you hear the first two songs of this film, you are glued to your seat. This movie is so amazing and I love it so much. And matter of fact, the musical score received multiple awards for the amazing music, the amazing soundtrack that's in it. I will be talking about that score a little bit later on. So it was filmed around the same time as Lion King and Pocahontas, which is kind of a little historical fact behind of what's going on in production during 1996. So Disney was really focused on Lion King and Pocahontas at the time, and they actually had to hire more people from different places to actually continue this film because there wasn't enough people on the job. And I think that's pretty crazy because it's such, to me, an important film, and I would never even thought that there wasn't enough people to create this amazing film. But anyways, I thought I would give you guys some little history of what's going on in productions around 1996 to kind of give you an idea. So going on with the plot, so we follow the story of the Notre Dame Cathedral bell ringer, Quasimodo, who is deformed since birth, and that's the first thing they actually talk about in the film. They have Quasimodo's mother running away with the deformed child, and Frollo, who is kind of like the leader, he's part of government, he wants to kill this baby because it's deformed, because it doesn't look like everybody else. And back then, gypsies were kind of like illegal. Like if you were a gypsy and they saw you, roaming the streets, they didn't want you there. They would arrest you, they would kill you, they would do absolutely anything to get you off the streets. The government did not like gypsies. That's that. But they were in front of the cathedral, and the priest said, he's saying this. He was basically like, you can't kill because the eyes of Notre Dame are on you, and there's all these statues, and they all are staring at Frollo, and Frollo everyone is religious, and he was like, all right, I can't kill this child. So they killed the mother because the mother ran away, whatever, and Frollo had to be Quasimodo's new father. So basically Frollo locks Quasimodo into the Notre Dame Cathedral to be the bell ringer for the rest of his life, and he's locked away in the tower to be hidden from the townspeople as Frollo, his master, makes him. In this little tower that he lives in, there are talking gargoyles which only talk around Quasimodo, they don't talk around Frollo because Frollo is absolutely terrifying, to keep him company. And Quasimodo longs to be with the townspeople. He makes little statues, little townspeople, and he plays with them. You know, he makes little dolls and plays with them. And he longs to be a part of the town and not just part of this tower that no one really goes in except to be part of the church. But he's not even in the church area, so he really never sees anybody. So, I just lost my train of thought. Then there is this new festival that happens every single year, the Feast of Fools, and apparently it's the best festival to be in Notre Dame, and he really wants to go. And the gargoyles convince him to go. It'll be harmless, and he ends up meeting a beautiful gypsy named Esmeralda during the Feast of Fools. And the Feast of Fools is kind of, you find the ugliest person in town and you crown them the Feast of Fools because they're the ugliest person in town. This is a gypsy festival, so obviously Frollo doesn't even like this festival and doesn't want Quasimodo to be anywhere near it, as he has mentioned multiple times to him. So of course Quasimodo gets crowned this person, you know, the Feast of Fools, and this is when all things go wrong. And I'm gonna stop it right there because I want you guys to watch it for yourself. But as I said before, lots of conflict going on and lots of plot happening right now, lots of plot twists and everything going on with that. But Esmeralda becomes his friend eventually, and they begin to talk more about how they feel in Quasimodo's life, and along with that, more singing happens, and it's absolutely amazing. So, as I said before, this film deals with lots and lots of harsh topics, I would call them, I would think. More serious topics, and I know parents nowadays don't really want their children to watch it because of those. I'm gonna name a few right now. I have my Chromebook up to just help me fact check myself. So there's mature themes of genocide, sin, lust, and lots of other things. But even though it is a Disney movie, they still talk about serious topics. And growing up, I had no idea what any of those words meant or what the film was even talking about. I loved the music. I loved the characters. I thought it was a great film. And now that I watch it, I still absolutely love it. Love it probably even more, even though it has these serious topics. And even though they do deal with mature themes, I think it's kind of important to have those in a Disney film. I think it's important to talk about those sort of themes in general with children. Maybe not teach them all about it and, you know, have them all freaked out, but like, I do think talking about serious things through magical movies where things end well and you kind of learn something without having someone just talk to you and you watching and learning for yourself is really important. And these themes also kind of give away which characters we are supposed to like, which characters we don't like. Of course, Frollo, even when I was talking about the plot, you guys hopefully kind of caught up that he's kind of the evil one who is hiding Quasimodo because of the way he looks. And he is one of the major themes of lust. He falls in love with Esmeralda because of the way she looks, and so he's kind of judging by book of a cover sort of thing. So there are lots and lots of themes in this movie, but some mature themes definitely we learned about that I just talked about. But it is a G-rated movie, so keep that in mind. If you're like watching this with a child, just don't read into it. But anyways, moving on. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the characters. So I'm gonna look up the characters real quick. So Quasimodo, we have, of course, he's the main character. And I think that he is, I always talk about characters resembling innocence, but it's true. He sort of, the innocent one of anyone, because he's not a gypsy and he doesn't really belong part of government, so he's kind of just in the middle of everything, you know. He wants to be part of the gypsy world because it looks fun, because it's exciting, and he doesn't really view government too much. He kind of just accepts it because Frollo accepts it. And he doesn't really, Frollo tries to teach him things about government to get him on the government side, to kind of brainwash him, but Quasimodo doesn't really seem to buy into it, kind of just seems like whatever about it. But as soon as he meets Esmeralda, he's mesmerized by the idea of being part of the town, by being part of the gypsy world, and he instantly wants to help the gypsies because Frollo wants to kill all of them because they don't, you know, belong in part of society. And Quasimodo immediately wants to help, so he is the barrier of innocence in this film, and it helps you see both sides and not just one side or the other. Of course, viewers are biased because, you know, gypsies don't really do anything wrong. Government doesn't really do anything wrong, so really he is kind of the blockade between government and gypsies before he meets Esmeralda. But really all he wants to do is be a part of life, have a life, besides ringing bells and talking to stone gargoyles his entire life. And he realizes that, and I think him being the innocent part of this town is extremely important, in numerous ways, as I said, to kind of give an unbiased look of the world and to kind of show what's really going on, because I found throughout most of the film and every time I watch it, he's the really only character that I can see the truth through, you know, because if we saw the film through Esmeralda's eyes, it'd be a completely different story. If it was through Frollo's eyes, it'd be a completely different story. But through Quasimodo, I feel like he doesn't know enough to choose a side, and he eventually does what's right, because he's obviously, I think to myself, why would I kill a bunch of gypsies? What have they done wrong? Exactly. And that's what he's thinking. And he is kind of the smart one, the more intelligent, common sense one, even though he doesn't really learn much except the alphabet and he knows how to talk. That's really it. And he chooses what's right over what he thinks isn't true. And I think that's really important. Moving on to Esmeralda. I find it hard to find out what she kind of is. She's a super friendly woman who just wants a life, you know, wants a life where she doesn't have to run away from anyone, where she can just be herself and, you know, do kind of, not whenever she wants, but just be able to do things for herself without having to run away and depend on people. You know, she's a very independent woman, and Quasimodo has to gain his independence, and he kind of learns what independence really is from her. And she's kind of the teacher to more common sense, while Frollo's the teacher to, let me show you what government can teach you. And she's really important, stable in Quasimodo's life. And even though she is a beautiful woman, and I've read lots of things that Quasimodo just wants her for her body, it's not true. She's a smart, intelligent woman who's very clever, and he wants to be like her because they're so close, they're so friendly with each other, and they end up only being friends. But throughout that whole interaction with them, you can tell they're very friendly with each other, and they just want to help each other out any way they can. She wants to help him learn how to be independent. He wants to help her break free and become free. Moving on to Frollo. He's obviously the evil one that we're supposed to think is evil. I mean, wanting to kill someone from birth because they're deformed. I mean, 1996, I don't know what it was like then, but I don't think that should happen absolutely ever. But we really see Frollo as this kind of guy who we can't trust, don't want to even look at you. And when he sings the song Hellfire about having lost for Esmeralda, instantly, I don't even want to see Frollo ever again. Instantly, I don't even want to involve myself with Frollo. So viewers are told to hate him, and I completely agree with that statement. I think he's pure evil. I don't like his intentions. That's that. I'm not even gonna talk about him anymore because I don't like him so much. The gargoyles, I think, are obviously comic relief, and they're Quasimodo's first friends. They kind of teach him things, you know, they push him to become independent, like, go to the Feast of Fools, like, one day won't kill you. Frollo won't know you're gone. They also push Quasimodo to think that Esmeralda likes, you know, who wouldn't like you? Who wouldn't like a guy like you? And that's what this song is called, A Guy Like You. And, you know, lots of people I've heard don't like this song because it kind of takes away from the film of what's actually going on. And I don't believe that. I think A Guy Like You, that song gives Quasimodo confidence to not get the girl, but to feel like he can do whatever he wants to do, that he can become an independent. They're giving him confidence that he has never earned for himself because he can't go anywhere, he can't talk to anyone but these gargoyles. So I think A Guy Like You gives him confidence and some light, airy energy that is not even comparable to the pain and suffering of what's going on in Notre Dame during the movie. So they definitely add this light and flair to the film, which I really like. And now going on to Captain Phoebus, he's not really a main character, but I thought it'd be worth mentioning him because he is the one soldier who doesn't want to kill gypsies because of the same reason Quasimodo does, because, you know, that's not right. And he was part of the war, and Notre Dame needed another soldier to help kill the gypsies, and Captain Phoebus was like, no. And Captain Phoebus does like Esmeralda likes him, but that's not what's important. Phoebus is a very nice guy, and he also adds to the innocence of the society because he doesn't want to kill anybody. He wants to do what's right, and that's what he's taught as a soldier to do. And he sticks to his honor, he sticks to his gratitude, and that's what he does best. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the song. So the first song we hear is The Bells of Notre Dame, which I really like this song because instead of, you know, like a narrator, actually there is a narrator telling you, but it's kind of it's like a jester. He's a jester in the Feast of Fools, and he is kind of like the plot driver. He's a narrator that tells you everything that's going on. And instead of talking to us, telling us like, oh, blah, 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 they sing like a 6 to 8 minute song that has some talking between what's actually going on in the time with Quasimodo's mother, Frollo, Quasimodo, and all of them. You know, there's some moments of talking, but it's gestures singing what's really going on in Notre Dame. So we as the audience know right off the bat, the first 6 to 8 minutes, what's going on. And I love that about this film because it's really hard to follow films when they don't tell you what's going on and they just plop you in the middle. And sometimes that's a really good feature to have in a movie because you have the element of surprise, like, oh, I didn't know this before. Oh, I like that they just let you right off the bat knowing exactly what's going on, and then they just bring you to Quasimodo, you know, when he's older, which I really like. Next song out there. I love this song. You kind of see the relationship between Frollo and Quasimodo in this song, and you really see what their connection is, and it's not father-son. You know, as soon as you see the film, you're like, oh, maybe they'll grow a connection. No. You instantly see that there's tension. Quasimodo, when he responds to Frollo, is very, like, stern. He's very straight up. He's very straight, you know. He needs to prove to Frollo that he is good for society. Topsy-Turvy, that's the Feast of Fools song that they sing. Super cute song. Love that song. It's so funny. The jester, who's the narrator, sings that song. God Help the Outcasts, that's Esmeralda singing. This is when she kind of confesses that they need help, And this song's really hard for her to sing, and you'll hear that when you listen to the song, that it's hard for her to sing because she doesn't like asking for help. But she knows that she needs help. Her and the gypsies need help to get out of this place, to change government, and Quasimodo and Phoebus are the answer to this. They really, really are. Heaven's Light / Hellfire. So I talked about Hellfire, but Heaven's Light is one of my favorite songs because Quasimodo sings about this feeling he has inside of him when he's around Esmeralda, and it's not this love lost sort of thing. He feels like he has attention now. He feels like someone cares about him. And Heaven's Light, he always sings like, it must be heaven's light. It must be God reaching down and saying like, you're important. And that's why I really like this song. Also, if you haven't noticed yet, this is kind of a religious film. They don't talk about, oh, you should follow this, whatever. It just, we're talking about God and Heaven's Light are really the only two religious songs, and they don't really sing about anything religious. It's more just, as I talked about, God help the outcast, her just asking for help from someone. That's just one of the reasons why, character development of her asking for help. And then Heaven's Light is him feeling something other, feeling cared for. A Guy Like You, I talked about. Paris Burning. Anyways, I could talk about all of these, whatever, but all of these songs are really, really important. And once you watch the film, you'll really, really see the character development through all the songs and what's really going on through all those songs. And I think that's really fun. So I don't really have anything else to mention about this film. I mean, I just spent 21 minutes talking about it. So I hope all of you will now go watch The Hunchback of Notre Dame because it is such a good film. And even though it's old, and even though it might not have gotten the attention it should have for its plot, I really like it. And I think all of you would really like it as well. So I hope you all give this movie a chance because I really enjoy this movie. I watch it all the time. So I hope all of you have a great day. Don't forget to watch Hunchback of Notre Dame.